Hello, this is Nathan Taylor, known as Sockmatician on YouTube, Ravelry, Instagram and Twitter, and this is a tutorial for the tuck stitch pattern that I use in my Portcullis cowl. So this is the first row of the 3 rows that make up one repeat of the pattern, and it's very simply into the purl stitch with the yarn in front. I'm simply going to purl as usual. I don't think I need to tell anyone how to do a purl stitch. Then with the yarn in front, which is still there from the purl stitch, I'm going to slip the next stitch and perform a yarn over, just wrapping the yarn around the needle. That is it. Keep going all the way round. I'll show you that one more time. So firstly, I'm going to purl, then I'm going to slip the next stitch and make a yarn over. What that does is that creates the yarn over, which is how the tuck stitch fabric is formed. On the next round we'll be working those 2 strands together, and we've got the purl stitch on its own and then the knit stitches there with their yarn overs. Carry on like that all the way around the cowl until the beginning of the next round, and that's when I'll join you to show you what to do next. I'm now on the second round of the group of 3. All 3 of these, incidentally, rounds that I'm making at the moment use the same colour yarn. I'm using the grey here. Some of the sets of 3 will have some rounds performed with the blue and some with the grey, but just for the purposes of this demonstration I happen to be on a set of 3 that's all in the one colour, and that's dictated by the pattern, so all you need to do is follow which yarn for which round. Here I am on the second round then in that case, and again it's exactly the same. It starts with a purl 1, nice and simple, and then it's going to be another slip 1 yarn over, except this stitch has already got a yarn over that I made on the preceding round, so I'm going to slip those 2 together as if they were one stitch, and then make a second yarn over. So there's now a cluster of 3 strands there. I'll show you that again. Knit 1, purl 1, do beg your pardon, and then slip the stitch with its yarn over and make another yarn over. There we go, purl 1 stitch and slip 1 and create a yarn over. And as you can see, these are now in clusters of single purl stitches, and then there are 3 strands that make up this next little lump there, then a single purl stitch and then a lump of 3, and that's all you need to do for round 2. Now here I am partway through the 3rd and final round of the repeat, and just as before it starts with a purl 1, nice and simple, nothing to explain there. Then we've spent the last 2 rounds building up these yarn overs. Now we're going to deal with them. So I take the yarn to the back and I'm just going to knit into all 3 of those strands. That's the stitch and its 2 yarn overs. Can you see that all 3 of them there on my needle? I'm just going to knit them as if it's a knit 3 together. It's really only a knit 1 stitch plus its 2 yarn overs. I have Nancy Marchant to thank for introducing me to tuck stitches, and in fact, this is a variation of one of her tuck stitches called the Lois Fantasy Brioche Tuck Stitch. Lois Fantasy Tuck Stitch, something like that. But I liked what it looked like on the back, so I've reverse engineered it, and we're knitting this as seen from the back. She calls this stitch a brioche plus 1 knit. So as a normal brioche knit, you would be knitting into a stitch plus its yarn over. We have an extra yarn over, so making 3 in total. You don't need to know any of that in order to know how it works. You just need to do the repeat again. So we purl 1 stitch, it's hard to do this on camera, and then take the yarn to the back and then knit into those 3 strands that make up the one cluster as if they were 1 stitch, and then bring the yarn to the front ready to start again. Purl, yarn to the back, knit into all 3 strands of the next cluster. And that's absolutely it. What that does is that gives us a plain row with no yarn overs over any of the needles, ready to start the rounds 1, 2 and 3 as we did before, building up those yarn overs ready for the 3rd round. And that is the tuck stitch pattern for the Portcullis Cowl.